Hi, this video is going to walk through the cloud-based dev environments in Drupal Forge. So I've got a couple of things going on here. It's a pretty long video, so I've got some slides here. I'm going to follow the slides along, and then I'm going to give you a demo in the live environment. So let's go through the slides first, and then let's see the demo. All right, so first of all, um, why do developers love the cloud-based dev environments? There is nothing to install on your laptops. It's easy to rebuild. It's consistent every time. It takes less than 2 minutes to launch. There are no resource limitations. You can install whatever things you want on it. It's easy to share. You can invite other developers to help you debug and do parallel programming and to even take over your projects. And when something breaks, it's not on your laptop, so you can very easily rebuild it if you want to. All right, so those are the big advantages of having cloud-based dev environments. So how does that work? On Drupal Forge, first of all, what is Drupal Forge? It's a platform to do demos, development, and deployment. Um, and to do that, all you do is go to drupalforge.org and pick a card that you want to develop, and then you'll do express launch. So let's go try that right now. We're going to go to Drupal Forge. We're going to go to Drupal AI. We're going to pick out express launch and click on that. So it generally takes less than 5 seconds unless there's a lot of people on the site and it's getting pretty hammered. So as you saw, it took less than 5 seconds here. The application is ready. And this is your Drupal CMS plus AI demo. And it shows you the username and password right here. So you can go over here, you can log in, and you can type in admin, admin. And now you're logged in. Notice that Notice that the AI keys are preloaded, so the chatbot is ready to go out of the box. So you don't have to enter your own keys if you don't want to. And I'm going to just type in what is Drupal CMS. And there it is. So you can see well, if things go wrong, you can retry it. But the keys are preloaded, and you should be able to use all the AI modules out of the box. And there's a video here by Marcus himself that walks you through all the things you can try on this with the AI site. All right, so I'm going to go back and follow along on these slides here. So we did an express launch, and after the launch happens, this is your application widget that you get, and it has all the information that you need to run your application. The interesting thing about this is that the widget is persistent. So if I go back to the home page and I come back to this card, the connection information is still there. So you can still access that information. You're not going to lose it. And this also allows you to run multiple applications if you want. So I can go in over here, launch Drupal 11, and then come back to Drupal AI and still access Drupal AI. Okay, so what's the next thing here? Okay, we logged in. We already did this. We saw this. We opened the site. We logged in as admin. We saw that the chatbot was running and the AI is ready to go. And okay, the next thing I want to show you is that this is a timed demo. So you've got by default you get 1 hour, and after an hour this site will go away. Okay, so it just gets deleted. So within an hour, if you want to extend that, you just click on this clock icon and you get another hour. Okay, so you get 2 hours for free. If you try and extend it more, it's going to make you register. And this is mainly to prevent abuse so that people don't use it forever. And to register, you go in here. And the best way to do this is the least complicated way to do this is to use Google's single sign-on. So I'm just going to log in using my demo account. And after signing on, it brings me back to this widget and it automatically added an hour. Okay. Once I'm signed in, I can continue adding time to it. Okay. So, and I can also click on manage, which will take me to the dashboard. And I can have more controls there. So, all right, so we added this. Okay, I already logged in, but without logging in, you can actually use the VS Code. You can use the Cloud Dev environment as well. So I'm actually going to show you this. And you can do this without logging in, but um, let me show you what this is. So you have VS Code in a browser, and VS Code is an IDE, Visual Studio Code. And this is actually Code Server, which is an open source version of VS Code. So it's not exactly 100% VS Code. This is the Code Server, which is a very good facsimile of VS Code. All right, so in Code Server, I want to show you three different things. And so it opens up in a browser. And if you go in the burger menu, you can actually open up the terminal here. So you get full root access. You can install other things as well. But we have pre-installed for you. We've pre-installed Composer and Drush for you here. So you can type in, for example, Composer, and you'll see that Composer is pre-installed and Drush is pre-installed. So you can use this to start developing right away. And this file tree right here, this is all drag and drop. So this is like having SCP or SFTP built in. So if you have files in your desktop, you can drag and drop them right here. And you can take a file from here, for example, index.php, and you can download the files from here as well. Okay, so this is like having built-in SCP or SFTP built into this. All right, the other thing you can do is this is a live editor. So I'm going to edit this index.php and I'll show you what I mean by having having this be a live editor. So I'm just going to put an interrupt here. I put php info and die. And notice that I have not saved this and I have not committed this. So I've just added a couple of lines here. I'm going to go back to Drupal site and I'm going to refresh this. And you'll see that I get PHP info. So this is just like having working on a local dev environment, but this is on the cloud. Okay, so it's very handy for doing training or doing development and seeing your changes. As you're making your changes, you can see them on your site right away. Now, notice that I'm going to go in here and I'm going to comment these 2 lines out, go back over here, and when I refresh it, I'm back at Drupal. Right? So this is a nice thing to have, and you can do all your edits here. And as you edit the files, you can see your changes right away without committing your changes and without even saving them. In fact, just to be clear, as soon as you're typing these things, every keystroke that you're typing is saved on the back end automatically. So when I say you're not saving it, it's actually a misnomer because the system is saving it for you. All right, so back to the presentation, the slides here. So we talked about these things. Live editor, drag and drop file tree. We did this demo here. We saw PHP info come up. Okay, and I did this already. I jumped the gun and I did the save already. All right, so the one thing I want to point out is that when you save the site to your account, if you don't save it, the site goes away after the timer runs out. But if you do save the site, this site is going to be there, is going to stay in your account for up to 30 days. So now, and this is the save process. We talked about this. And then to get to your site from here, or to get to the dev environment from here, we can click on Manage. Okay, so this gets you to the dashboard. I'm going to put on Command plus plus a little bit so you can see this. All right, so let's see what we want to talk about the dashboard. All right, so the dashboard is actually the back end of Drupal Forge is based on Dev Panel. And Dev Panel is similar to Pantheon or Acquia's dashboard. The difference with Dev Panel is that it's a SaaS dashboard only, and the users bring their own cloud provider, bring their own hosting provider. So Drupal Forge is running on its own DigitalOcean cluster, and we're using Dev Panel as just a dashboard here. So the access we give you, so all these sites are running on Drupal Forge's cluster, but the backend is managed, our cluster is managed by Dev Panel. All right. So you see that the time here is the same time that we have available here. And you can access VS Code from here as well. There's also PHP It's turned off by default, but you can turn it on and you can access it. And here's the link to the site. And there's all these other controls here as well. So we'll go through those a little later. Okay, so I talked about Dev Panel. And these controls are here. We'll talk about that as well. And what's next? Okay, so in Drupal Forge, you can save as many sites as you want. So there's no limits on how many sites you have. Each site, when they pause, they essentially, once you save them, okay, so if you've saved the site, when this timer runs out, the sites are automatically paused. Okay, so instead of getting deleted, they're going to be paused, but they're going to stay in your account for up to 30 days. Okay, and to see your paused sites, you can go up to My Apps, and you can see which sites are running right now and which of the older sites are paused. Okay. And to jump to this site, you can go under Actions and you can go to the workspace and you can jump to the application. So if you go to the workspace, it takes you back to the dashboard on Dev Panel, and it's the same as this one, essentially. All right, so this is where all your sites show up, the paused and the running ones. All right, and then when you're done with it, with your sites, you can actually go back to your application page and you can delete the site from here. And you can say delete it from here, or you can also delete the site from here as well. You copy and paste this, it says confirmation, and then you can say deactivate, which is essentially deleting the site. So there's two ways to delete it. You can delete it from Dev Panel, or you can delete it from Drupal Forge. And that's how it is in Dev Panel. So you go to the danger zone and you copy and paste this branch URL and you put it here and click deactivate. All right, so I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to walk you through other things. All right, so once you've saved your site to your account, when the timer runs out, when this timer runs out, the application is paused. So you can, and you can also manually pause it from here. So if I go back to the overview page, if I click pause, the application will pause. And so you're force pausing it. But after the timer runs out, it'll pause automatically and I can just go back over here and unpause it manually myself. And then what's next? Okay, so the other things I can do is I can go here and I can run backups. All right, so as a free user on Drupal Forge, I cannot set up automated backups, but there's going to be paid plans on Drupal Forge down the road. So if you have a paid account on DevPanel or on Drupal Forge, you could turn on, or if you're running this on your own cluster, you could turn on automatic backups. But for now, you can do a manual backup, set call, and say create. And then once the manual backup is done, you can actually download the manual backup and then use that for, you can use the manual backup for running it on your local dev environment like DDev or Lando or whatever. So, and while this backup is running, you can actually go look at it in the activities. So in the activities, you can see who did what and when. And as the backups are running, you can see that the backups are running here. You can open the log and you can actually see what's happening as well. Okay, so we did the backups. We looked at activities. We looked at the live activity log. And then let's look at configuration. Okay, so in configuration, so as a free user coming in from Drupal Forge, there are some limitations. So one of the limitations is, as a Drupal Forge user, I cannot change the container size. So I'm stuck with this container size. Now, different applications on Drupal Forge have different container sizes. For example, the Drupal 11 container is a smaller container than the Drupal CMS with AI. So this is a bigger container here. But I can't change this. You can look at it, but I can enable PHP and disable that. And let's see. So that's configuration. Oh, the other thing I can do under configuration, let me move this here, is I can change the image version. So I can change the PHP image that I'm running. I can actually downgrade or upgrade the PHP version. And if you do that, then you have to apply the configuration and that's going to rebuild the container. So you can see for PHP 8.3, for example, there's 3 different images here. There's the stable image that's without any add-ons. There's one with mod security, which has mod security is a WAF, a web application firewall that's built into this image with Apache. And then there's another image that has Apache with Redis built in. Yeah, so you could change that, and then if you do apply configuration, it'll rebuild the container. And when you rebuild the container, the website goes down while the container is being rebuilt. All right, so that's configuration. Or if you wanted to, you could also add your own custom domains here. And then you can add as many custom domains as you want, and you get dev panel goes and gets the SSL for you for each of the custom domains. So you don't have to worry about that, but you do have to configure your own CNAME for each of those domains in the DNS. So okay, then the other thing here is logs. This is your live Apache access and error log. These are not kept forever, so the logs do get rotated out. So it's good if you want to look at it, but don't rely on having a history of logs here. Okay, if you want to share this environment or you want to invite other people to this, then you can go into members and you can add a collaborator. If you add a collaborator here, you have to invite them. You have to go here first, the members here, and you have to invite them as a maintainer or a developer first. If you add somebody as a maintainer, then they will have access to all the branches in your project. If you add them as a developer, you have to add them one at a time to each of your branches. Okay, so we're on the main branch, and you're going to have to add them to this branch as a developer. And let's see, what else do I want to talk about? And I think that's it about, oh, and if you add members here, they'll show up in the invitation, and you'll have to send them the invite however you want to send them. We don't send out emails. So you can copy and paste the invite through Slack or send it through to them through email or however you want to do that. So Dev Panel does not send out emails. Drupal Forge does not send out emails to people. So the reason is they were just getting lost in spam, and people were clicking on spam and whatever. So all right, so that's that. What's the next one down? So we covered custom domains, we covered logs, covered members and sharing your environment. Okay, let's look at security. So if I go under security, you can enable, this is the HT access lock, which is the web server level lock. And if you type in, your username and password, this is before they even get to Drupal. So they'll get a pop-up. Whoever tries to go visit that URL, they'll get a pop-up access lock. And then this is the file permission settings. If you have it on loose permissions, then you'll be able to add and update modules through the Drupal admin UI. If you put this to strict permission, then you can only add and update modules through Composer. So this changes how the file permissions are set up internally inside Drupal. We used to have this on strict permission, but then everybody complains. So now we have it on loose permission by default. Okay, and then exporting a site. Okay, before I do that, let me see if I covered everything here. HT file permission. Okay, good. So exporting a site, there are two ways to export a site. There is, you can take, right now the site is running in the Drupal Forge cluster in a container. and the site is only available for 30 days and then it goes away, then it's deleted. So, and right now there's no way to extend it. We're looking at allowing users to extend it, but for now it's only available for 30 days, right? So if you want to, you can actually take this site and put it, export it out to your VPS. To export it out to your VPS, all you need to do is click on Connect VPS, and put in your VPS username, the VPS IP address, and the private key, and then click Connect, and then we will, and then you'll be able to uh, push it to the VPS, and then DevPanel will actually package it, your site, and push it to the VPS as containers to that VPS. And then it's up to you on how you want to connect your domain through it using Cloudflare or whatever you want to use. And then it's up to you on how you want to do the backups. That's basically your VPS, your server. So, and the other thing to note is that you can actually connect more than one VPS. So you can do deployment to one VPS, then you can do the deployment to your next VPS while preserving the first VPS. So that's one way of doing it. And if you want to use this site as a dev site, you can connect your VPS and use that as a production site. And then you can continue pushing to that connected VPS. You can use this as a dev site and continue pushing updates to that VPS whenever you want to update that. Okay, so that's exporting to the VPS, and that's that. And then let me talk about the templates. All right, so this is, if you develop something, for example, we started with the Drupal CMS with AI, and say you develop something nice and you want to share it with somebody, right? So the way you share that is you create a template of what you've developed, and then you can share that to, you get a URL for it, and then you can share that with other people, and then they can spin up from that URL, they can spin up their own sites. Okay? And you can also share that on Drupal Forge with everybody else. So if you publish that, so you can share it privately with other people, or you can share it publicly, and you can share it on Drupal Forge for other people to spin up as well. Okay, so those are the two ways to share it. But this feature is actually in beta and only available to certain users right now. So this is coming out soon, and it's not GA as of right now when I'm making this video. So this is in beta right now. And okay, all right, so that's a high-level overview of the dashboard here in DevPanel. I'm going to show you some other things that are not generally used, but can be helpful if you want to use them, and they're more for advanced uses. But since I'm making the video, I'm just going to walk through it. So this is for tag-based deployments. Again, mainly used by enterprise users, and for larger deployments, we don't use this with Drupal Forge. This is the secret manager, and your AI key is shared with the containers using the secret manager. But if you have keys that you want to manage, don't hard code them, use it with the secret manager. This is VS Code extensions. So when you're here in VS Code, you can actually go here to the extensions and you can add whatever extensions that you want. Okay. So there's no limit. This is loading right now, but there's no limit to the number of extensions that you want. You might run out of memory in this container, but you can add whatever extensions that you want to add. But these are the extensions. If you check these extensions, they'll be loaded by default. And again, this is actually, I believe this is in beta as well. So it may work, it may not work. It may break. So That's just a caveat right now. All right, and then I already talked about members. You can add collaborators as a maintainer or as a developer. If you add them as a maintainer, they get access to all the branches. Right now, we have access only to the main branch. There's only main branch here, but on some projects, you get multiple branches. So, and this is activities here. This is for all the branches across your project. Again, we only have the main branch here, so it doesn't really make a difference. And then the settings is for this project. Again, this is kind of advanced, but here you can connect your own registry if you wanted to, and you can connect your own CI/CD provider if you wanted to. We don't, coming in from Drupal Forge, we don't mess around with these things. We just use their base provided registry and CI/CD provider from DevPanel. But I think that covers all the topics. And we talked about my apps. So if you ever want to go back and look at all the apps that you're running, so when this guy gets paused or the timer runs out, you can actually find it here. You can jump to the workspace for that app. And then from this workspace, you can unpause it. And then you can work on it from here. Okay, so that's how that'll work. And you saw the action menu. All right, that's about it. So hope you liked that tour and this long video. And go try it out. This is the whole cloud-based dev environment in Drupal Forge, and leverages dev panels dashboard on the back end. All right, that was it. Thanks. Hit us up if you have any questions. Okay, thanks. Bye.